So yeah, that Raw. I have mixed emotions because I knew that this Raw was gonna be more for just introducing fans to WWE since it's on Netflix now, a whole worldwide audience. But they were also kind of hyping it up as the greatest Raw of all time, and I kind of fell into it. So I did get really hyped for it, and at first I thought, well, maybe my expectations were too high and it was my fault that the show didn't meet my standards. But then again, somebody in my live chat was like, well, they're the ones that told us that it was going to be the greatest Raw of all time. And so I'm like, yeah, like, am I allowed to get hyped for WrestleMania? Or if I get disappointed by WrestleMania, is it because I hyped myself up too high? Oh, well, that's WrestleMania. Well, they told me that this was going to be the best Raw of all time. It wasn't like a bad Raw, but I was like, I'm very unsatisfied right now. I don't know exactly what it is. I made this analogy up in my live stream. If you gave Chelsea Green some, like, a cake, and then she walked into a segment, she walked into the ring with this cake, and she was going to celebrate her birthday and stuff, and the people who she was feuding with, they came in, they had a verbal confrontation, and then they left. And then Chelsea Green ate her cake. I would feel unsatisfied because I wanted to see Chelsea Green go in the cake. And that's what this Raw was. This Raw was like, it was just, I don't know, I just have questions. I don't know how I feel about it. And there was a lot of things that didn't make sense even. I wrote them down. And I might have forgot some. But I don't know if I'm even going to edit this video because I don't really have time. I have to work and I'm tired. But I don't think I could sleep tonight if I didn't talk about how I'm just lost. That Raw, the greatest Raw of all time, the first Netflix Raw, kind of left me a little lost. And people liked it. I know people liked it. People said in my chat it was a solid Raw. But I'm not feeling it. And there's things that I don't understand. And I got them all here. And then we'll do a review. Why hype the High Chief moniker of The Rock if we're going to do nothing with it? The day before Raw, he comes out and he says, I'm the High Chief. I'm the High Chief. I'm really proud of that title. I'm the High Chief. So it leads me to believe that he's going to kind of shove that High Chief moniker down our throats and say, you know what, you're the Tribal Chief, but I'm the High Chief. But no, did nothing with it. Why was The Rock giving love to Cody Rhodes? He comes out and he hypes up and he says, hey, Netflix CEOs, we love you guys. And you know who's been carrying this show on his back? Cody Rhodes. And then he even goes and hugs Cody Rhodes in the front row. Wasn't like the last time they met, it was, I'm going to come back for your title. And it was kind of like, yeah, they had mutual respect for each other in the ring, but at the same time, The Rock was making no bones about it that he was coming back for the title. And, all the stuff at WrestleMania early in last year, he beat him up to a bloody pulp in a parking lot and said, I'm going to give this bloody belt to your mom. And yet, no, yeah, I love you, Cody. You're great. You've been carrying the company. Why are two SmackDown people fighting on Raw anyways? Why is the biggest match of all time for the Ula Fala on Raw? That doesn't make sense, but I'm willing to overlook it. Corporate sponsors, they want that. Why say that this is tribal combat and make a big deal that no bloodline can interfere, and then we have literally both bloodline come down? Why did we, or say it's a no DQ match? Why did we have to go out of our way to say no bloodline members can enter, and then bloodline members enter? We have Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Jimmy Uso, and Sami Zayn. And another why didn't Jey Uso come down? Because he had a match with Drew? So if you have a match with Drew, you're not going to help out your brother or your tribal chief? So that kind of made no sense either, that Jay didn't come down, even though no bloodline members should have came down. Why did Kevin Owens suddenly come out and attack Roman? I mean, I get it. He doesn't like Roman, but why now? Of all the times, why now did Kevin Owens come out? He's had so many other opportunities. Why is he starting conflict there? Now, if Drew would have came out also, then that would have made sense. But because it was just Kevin Owens attacking Roman Reigns, that made no sense whatsoever. He's had plenty of opportunities to do it in the past, and now he's doing it, and it was going to help Solo Sikoa. He doesn't like Solo either. And then, why did Cody come from the back to help Roman Reigns or to at least fight KO. Because we just saw Cody was on the other side of the ring when The Rock gave him some love. So now, and that was like 10 minutes ago. So now Cody is in the back when he was just in the audience. Why did The Rock give the Ula Fala? It was so nice about it. But, you know, at Bad Blood, he literally came out, Cody and Romans, they won a match, and Jimmy Uso helped win that match, and The Rock came out, and he was just like, 1, 2, 3, and then he walked away. And then he released this thing on Instagram where he was just so mad at everybody. He was cursing out everybody. He even went to the production truck and said to a picture of Dusty Rhodes, "I love you, but I hate your son." And now, here he is at Netflix Raw, telling Cody, you know, what a great champion he is, and then he's just giving the Ula Fala to Roman? You couldn't say nothing at Bad Blood, but now you're just, okay, whatever, here you go, dude. You're just giving that. You do nothing. Where's the final boss? Why are there commercials in the US? I mean, yeah, money, but, like, why does the rest of the world... They don't get commercials, but why do we? And it's like, I'm paying the most. I know that's like something that WWE can't really control, or they can, I don't know. But, you know, that's just I don't get it. Why show us The Rock leaving during the commercials? If this show is so important and so awesome and so spectacular, wouldn't The Rock want to just stay? And if he is going to leave, why are you showing us he's leaving? You know, because you need to tell us that he's going to be on NXT. You could have showed us that he was going to be on NXT real quick without showing us that this show is not good enough for The Rock to stick around. Why not have John Cena open the show? John Cena kind of came out and did the Rock promo, but did it better. And so we got two. Thank you for letting us be on Netflix promos, but John Cena's was better. So we could have just not had The Rock. When did anybody say Chad Gable had a problem beating luchadors? Yeah, I do know that he couldn't beat Rey Mysterio, but he couldn't really beat anybody last year, except for Otis and Tozawa. So why is suddenly I have a problem beating luchadors? Give me any luchador. Like, why don't you just say, give me Rey Mysterio? But nobody said you couldn't beat luchadors. And while Raw might not have been the greatest thing ever, this belt right here is the greatest thing ever. And you viewers are the greatest thing ever to me. And I want to show my appreciation by giving away this belt. All you got to do is comment below, subscribe to the channel as well, hit the bell notification, and I'll give the belt away. I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. This video might not actually be the best representation of the channel because I'm just so like, I don't know. I'm just like, don't know how I feel about that Raw. And I'm just kind of just throwing out my raw emotions, pun intended. And yeah, so, but you can still win this belt. So good video or not, you can still win the belt. Just comment below, hit the bell notification, and yeah. Sorry, also, I might not edit this video a lot because it's really late and I gotta work in the morning. I want to try to get the hot takes out too. So let's just keep going. You can win the belt though. Comment below and be a subscriber. Okay, so where was I? Why show us Shinsuke Nakamura just sitting in the audience? The guy is supposed to be unhinged. This is a guy who scared the bloodline into not attacking him because he just was bleeding out the mouth. And suddenly he's just this normal dude enjoying the show. And I might be wrong, correct me if I am, but I think he was sitting on the side of Bianca. Next to Bianca was Naomi, and on the other side of Naomi was LA Knight. And aren't LA Knight and Shinsuke in a feud? And LA Knight said, I'll beat you up no matter what, where you're at. So, like, I mean, there's only two people in between them. Now, if I'm wrong, just correct me, and I apologize for being wrong. It's tired, and I didn't have time to go back and check, but when I was writing that, I was like, wait a second. Michael Cole trying so hard to justify Rhea Ripley that he was just completely gaslighting everything, saying that Rhea Ripley was such a victim of Edge, manipulated into doing all these horrible deeds and becoming who she was because of Edge, but she then did all that to Dominic Mysterio. Literally, we saw that, though. We never saw Edge manipulating Rhea. We can say maybe it happened backstage, and we never saw it, but we literally saw it happen to Dominic Mysterio. So why is Michael Cole on commentary so hyping the fact that Rhea was a victim, and yet just completely saying Dominic Mysterio is a horrible person? Like, if you're so that sympathetic to Rhea being manipulated by Edge, wouldn't you be equally sympathetic to Dominic, who was literally, we watched it happen? We saw her put Dominic in, like, scissor locks and said, I'm going to just completely beat you up all the time. So, like, we saw Dominic be manipulated and brainwashed into Judgment Day. And yet, you're having sympathy for Rhea? Why not a last women's standing match? That was advertised, and yet, where was it? Why was Rhea an Undertaker? Why did the Undertaker come out? And suddenly, you know what? We don't need to try to explain why he was the Biker Taker and not Dead Man Taker. Fine, whatever. He can switch between the two. But why did he come out for Rhea at all? They've never had any interaction, really. I don't remember any interaction with them. If anything, it should have been for Damian Priest, who's been called a certain version of The Undertaker before. And yet, that wouldn't have really made sense either, because they don't have ever shown any interaction. But why is The Undertaker coming out for Rhea? The Hogan appearance? I guess that made sense because, he was just there to be nostalgia, but I thought it was funny that he just got booed. So, like, that one made sense, but it was like, they totally booed him out of the building, and maybe Triple H or TKO need to read the room. Jey Uso winning, I would be okay with Jey Uso winning. I did a prediction video, actually, and said Jey Uso winning would be okay, because Drew McIntyre, he actually can still survive a loss. He's a unique character that can eat a loss and come out stronger, because he's like unjustly lost. But the problem is, he didn't unjustly lose here. Jey Uso just got the better of him. Yeah, it was a quick roll-up, so he wasn't ready, and maybe that will protect him, but I don't know. He lost clean. If you lose clean, you have no reason to complain. So this doesn't actually help Drew. And then that brings up the question of every single face won? Like, every single face won. No heel lost. And that was questionable. I get it, this is for the new audience, but still. I have questions, and that's one of them. Only one Raw title, the women's world title, was seen. You didn't see the War Raiders with their belts, you didn't see Braun Breaker with his belt, and you didn't get a live appearance from your world champion. So that's questionable, because I'm like, okay, well, that just shows, without a shadow of a doubt, that the world championship is pretty much an afterthought, because there's so much more important things than your world champion. No need to showcase your champion, just maybe a vignette. And yeah, so, and then CM Punk won. That was the right call. But now where do we go with Seth? He kind of has to become a heel, because, well, I don't know. It was the right call, but the fact that every face won leading up to the main event made me question Seth losing. I feel he should have won, because everybody else had won. Every other face had won, so maybe give a heel. But no, CM Punk won. And that was, those are my questions on Raw. And yeah, so how do I feel about the actual stuff? The Roman match, Roman versus Solo, I actually liked a lot of Solo's, like, he would say stuff like, I loved you, and I could never do anything good enough for you. I really liked that. It gave Solo motivation and character, and it was a decent match. I wish that Solo would have won, only because, not because I wanted Roman to lose, but I fear that it'll be more damage to Solo. And then when The Rock didn't come out to take control of the bloodline, I'm like, well, what does Solo do now? Now, he did survive Bad Blood, and I thought Solo was cooked back then, so who knows? I'm sure there's a plan for Solo, but I feel Solo should have won, but Roman won, so okay, good match, and I know a lot of people are happy. KB and a lot of people in the audience, very, very happy, and I can definitely see why you want your biggest star to win in the first match of the night. Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan. Again, when they took away that last women's standing match, I didn't even realize it until it started, and then I'm like, there's just questions. Rhea, I believe, should have won, because it was just when a storyline is completely over, usually I do want the face to win. It's interesting that she is such a dominant, powerful face, almost like a monster opponent, and usually you want your monster opponents to be heels, but whatever, she wins. I think it was the right call, but I'm being left unsatisfied because it's just very predictable, and predictable in a bad way. So I figured next match, we're going to get Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. I said in my prediction video that both can actually eat a loss because Jay's so popular, he can eat a loss. But Drew, if he's unjustly beaten, he can also eat a loss. And yet, Drew just got surprised, rolled up, and won. If you go to my live stream, I definitely was not happy. I'll do a separate video and just post my reaction up because I flipped out. And so then Seth Rollins just loses. That was a good match. I actually really enjoyed the Seth Rollins CM Punk match. But because of everything that was just leading up to it, and all these questions that I had, and things just not making sense, it allowed Raw to feel flat for me. And the crowd also was pretty flat, even though they were able to break out the noise meter for Seth Rollins, whoa, his song or whatever. But yeah, the crowd wasn't into it. And I think the crowd was like a Super Bowl crowd in that everybody was coming for the Super Bowl and not for football. So the football fans, they couldn't afford the event. So only the people who wanted to experience something new and exciting, they came. But they, Super Bowl fans, they don't know who to choose. They don't know what a field goal is and when is someone going to hit a home run. So they're not the best crowd to really be a part of the Super Bowl. They just have a lot of money, or they know somebody who knows somebody. And that's what I felt this crowd was, because even in the Jey Uso stuff, they weren't really yeeting in the beginning, and everybody eats. Even if you don't like eating, you yeet. And eventually they got on board, and there were some moments they got into it, but they felt really flat throughout the show. And I think that maybe a lot of these fans were just there to experience something. And that's totally cool, because hopefully we got some new fans. But at the same time, it didn't lend to a really exciting atmosphere. And that also then, they were pandering to celebrities a lot, which I get, because you want to show how awesome WWE is to the rest of the world? Well, show them all these celebrities who are also who love the WWE, but it didn't lend itself to the show for me. And I'm just going to say that this show, this Raw, it was okay, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I feel I should have based on the matches that were presented. This was a WrestleMania card, and yet I didn't fully get into it, and I think it's because of the pacing, the audience, the booking decisions. They were geared towards a complete new fan. And so I'm just going to have to walk away. I'm not going to be like, worst Raw ever, but I'm just going to have to say, you know what? I hope you enjoyed it. That Raw wasn't necessarily for me. I will wait to next week when new car smell wears off and we can go back to just, my WWE. And hopefully these new fans come over to my WWE, because we definitely got to welcome them. So I'm hoping that everything that was not for me resonated with somebody else. And yeah, a lot of the matches, Roman, how can you complain that Roman won and that he got his tribe back? That's a good thing. And yet I didn't get the final boss rock. That's the part that really probably stung. And I think that's what set the path. That's what set the tone, actually. The fact that I was expecting the final boss and I didn't get the final boss. And maybe that's on me. But what did you think of Raw? Mine was very just I was just left unsatisfied, like eating soup for dinner. I'm full, but I'm still I'm restless. That didn't satisfy my hunger at the same time. So guys, girls, thank you. Sorry about this very questionable review. I appreciate every single one of you. Have a good day, and please let me know what you thought of Monday Night Raw. And yeah, see you around.